Hello and welcome to another edition of Pulp Picks. My name is Patrick.
I'm Fritz.
And we're here to give you this week's reading recommendations for the new comic books released today and yesterday, I guess technically, because DC wants to be different.
Yeah.
Which is fine. So we've got a couple number ones here and then a number two. It was a big week.
Yeah.
We're back to that kind of 3.5 shelves on the new release wall. A lot of big hitting titles this week. So as I was filling up the pull and hold bags the last couple of weeks, a lot of them were really thick because there's so many staples. And nothing disappointed me at all.
Everything was good this week.
Yeah. So let's get right to it. And this is, I really love this concept. So the first book we picked to be a pulp pick, and now we've got...
Yeah, so this week my pick is The Six Fingers issue 1. It's a follow-up to one of my previous picks, The One Hand.
Yeah.
So I think I kind of explained it with that one, where these are going to be like two companion books. The One Hand follows this detective trying to figure out, like, there's a serial killer that he's somehow caught, like, twice now, like, two different people, though. And now there appears to be a third person doing it, and their only real clue is that somehow this guy appears to maybe have like 6 fingers instead of 5. And then this series is about that serial killer, whether he may realize it or not. So first off, one of the things I really love, we were talking about this a bit beforehand, is so The One Hand is written by Ram V. I'm blanking on the artist offhand, but this series is by Dan Waters and I'm probably going to mispronounce this, but let's try Sumit Kumar.
Yeah, that looks right.
Yeah. So instantly right away, like, the art style is very different. Like the kind of like, it doesn't have quite the noir vibe that the other one does.
Yeah.
It has, what it does have though is there's almost this like, there's this very like real sense of like dread building up, like some mist, like there's a lot of like anger and tension building between characters, like you feel like all this stuff building towards the surface, and then you get to the end, and it's just like, oh, that's why.
Yeah, it's like when you're in a room with other people having a tense conversation, an argument, and you're just standing there like, where's the exit? Yeah, you're seeing a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, we meet this new character. Everything in his life is like, he's not necessarily living like a terrible life per se, but like it's not quite like what he wants it to be. Like he can't quite get the funding he wants to do for like an archaeological dig. His work keeps having issues. His relationship isn't doing great. Like, and throughout it, like there's this sense of like he's constantly trying to like have control of everything, but he just can't quite. And just like how that starts to manifest in certain ways is
yeah, he's kind of sabotaging his life because it's not going exactly the way that he wants it to go.
And again, like not that there isn't stuff that he can complain, but like they're like the way that he interacts with everything doesn't help him at all.
Not at all.
No, but like kind of like seeing like the build up and like what and how he comes to realize like certain things that he definitely doesn't have control over, and how that's going. Yeah, that's the thing. Like. Yeah, it's not really a spoiler. The guy in question is the serial killer, but neither him nor we understand why he is, though.
Right, and so that's going to kind of, as the story goes, we're going to get more and more questions and information on how 3 separate people can all be doing the exact same thing without any prior knowledge. Because, as they say in The One Hand, there's a lot of information that was not released to the public that is tying all 3 of these murders together. It's got to be the same person, but it can't be the same person because they've already busted this person twice, and it was 2 different people already. How can it be a third different person? It's such a neat concept.
And like I love there's already like little things being set up that like I'm sure are going to like come back and start with like there's the whole bit with like the arrowhead at the beginning. They're like that feels like like that feels like it's probably important. But and I love it's got like. As The One Hand had a little preview for this has a little preview for the issue 2 of The One Hand. I like it. They're kind of like, here's our story. Here's a little feed into the next part. I don't know. I'm super excited to see how like these both escalate off each other.
Yeah. I really like the artist too. I thought it was, it's kind of, I don't know. It reminds me a little. We were talking about Zorro. It reminds me a little bit of Sean Murphy, but more cartoony,
kind of. Yeah,
or like the line weight, and it's got kind of an angular quality, but slightly more exaggerated, cartoony kind of thing. And I was looking in every panel for a sixth finger to show up. So, yeah, from the very get, like, because the opening scene is two bodies interacting. And it got weird from there.
Yeah, there's if you can't tell by this cover, there's a lot of like weird bodily that's another.
Yeah, when you get the context for that, it's either less horrifying or more horrifying. I'm not exactly sure which.
I won't lie, I'm not like, I couldn't tell you offhand if that character that relates to this is actually going to be like prevalent throughout the rest of the series. I kind of want them to, because like they got a whole weird thing going on. An interesting vibe.
I was already casting that in my head. Who would play this person in real life? So. This is going to be weird to say, but this was kind of a fun book to read. Even though that you were watching all these tense, awkward interactions where you're just thinking like, wow, this guy is just ruining his own life. And there's a horrible serial killer doing awful things to bodies and stuff. Like, it was still fun. It's weird to say.
Weirdly enough, everything you just said also kind of describes your pick.
Yeah, okay, well, there's an interesting segue. So I went with Predator, The Last Hunt, number 1. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this won't be the last hunt of any predators.
Probably not. Maybe this specific predator.
Yeah, this particular one, maybe. So, Marvel got the rights to Aliens and Predator along with the Fox deal, and they started doing comics, I don't know, a couple of years ago?
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So this is the 3rd volume, but we're continuing to follow this main character who is introduced at the very beginning of the 1st volume. And I have picked books from each of the volumes because I've really liked them. And I'm not big into particularly sci-fi adaptations. I feel like a lot of times the story's already kind of been told and you're kind of pigeonholed and it really limits you in what you can do. But Ed Brisson has really done a great job of expanding this Predator universe. And I know that they're... doing similar things over on the Alien side, and I'm waiting for these things to come together.
That does feel like something that, like, at some point they're going to have to do.
Yeah, there's a scene in here with a derelict ship, and I was totally expecting face huggers to come out. So they. In the 1st volume, it's about this kid whose family is scientists on this scientific expedition, and they're cataloging a planet, and a predator comes and wipes out the whole expedition. The kid's the only survivor. That's the 1st volume. 2nd volume is the kid has been out hunting predators for a number of years, all grown up, of course, and ends up on a predator hunting planet.
Yeah, it's almost like a testing ground.
Yeah, or like a hunting reserve, you know. So it's it's like a club that predators go to, and they
Club Pred.
Yeah, exactly, Club Pred. So they steal intelligent beings from all these different planets. Particularly Earth is what's happening in this one. They freeze them in cryogenics, and they drop them off, and it's kind of like. When they release the quail or whatever, and now you gotta go get them.
It's similar to the one that did Robert Rodriguez do that one a couple.
That sounds right.
The one with Adrian Brody.
That's what they're pulling heavily from that.
Like it's kind of like taking elements of that, but there's a lot more like.
It was cooler.
Yeah, I would say. and I like that. That's one of the Predator movies I like. Yeah. But the comic did it better, I would argue.
Yeah, and so here again, now we're doing a bit of a time jump, and this main character is still hunting for predators, but they're starting to realize, like, I've been doing this so long, I'm starting to lose a step, I need to come up with a better plan. And they're really pushing because they're after a particular predator, the one that
well, no, they got.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, no, they're
after
trying to,
all the predators.
Yeah, they're trying to like find like the home world now. The problem is that
that's a terrible idea. I'm just
no, I know it's one of those things where it's just like, cool, you found it. Now what? But no, but the problem that I love that she's running into is the predators are just like, oh, she's a problem. We need to like change up our like
and now they're taunting her.
Yeah, they're like, and it's just. She spent like the previous 2 runs being like the actual like real predator in this whole scenario, and now she's not, and she's not really handling it well.
Yeah, and I think that it's interesting because it points out that the Predators had all the technology and all the knowledge of the galaxy and what planets were viable and all of that stuff. They've got all the advantages. So once they figured out that, how she was doing what she was doing, they just changed up the game, and now she's completely inept at being able to find them again. So she's kind of starting from square one. And it was really good. I very much enjoyed this. Francisco Mata doing the art on it. Unfamiliar with them.
I feel like I've seen their stuff before, but it's really good. It looks
familiar. We were flipping through it yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
And
really,
it's really a good fit.
I really can't wait, because it gets to do a little bit in here, but when they get to do more action scenes, they're going to be real good.
Yeah.
Because the fact that this issue is honestly like a lot more like kind of like chill and character driven, and still like has a lot of riveting moments.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, you flip through like the first 6 pages or so, there is no English dialogue at all. It's just action and alienese. I don't know. It's like, so it was very cool. I really liked that. All right. So on to our consensus pick.
Who would have thought it would be Ultimate Spider-Man issue 2? But no, for real though, can I say one of my favorite things about this is that, like, I love how much Peter loves being Spider-Man, but also he's just really not good at it.
He's so bad. He's so bad at it. And
he's
it's so
bad at it.
But he takes it in stride also.
Yeah,
he's
just like, it's a learning experience. He's basically, like, I think he pretty much says at one point, like, I got like a 20-year learning curve here. This is going to, like, take me some time.
Oh, that monologue was great, where he's like, okay, so do I start, as if I didn't lose 20 years, and then does that put me 20 years behind the curve? Or how do I go about being Spider-Man?
Yeah, like, how do I be the person I'm supposed to be?
Yeah, it was really cool. And I'm not going to lie. So how long ago was Brand New Day?
That was 2007 or 8, I think.
Yeah, so just under 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like a shot, the way that they wrote it. Like, I had my life stolen from me. Now I've got it back. Like, it kind of felt like, hey, what if Brand New Day hadn't happened, one more day in Brand New Day. But I'm really loving the dynamic here. Peter is written so well. I just can't wait for the dad jokes to really kick in.
Everything with his family is so, like, the conversation with his kids at the beginning, because like people like kind of know that there's some dude out there swinging around, like, and like his kids are talking about it. Can we spoil one of the big reveals from the previous issue now?
I think so.
Yeah. So big thing in this universe, Uncle Ben never died. He's still around. Aunt May is gone though. She got kind of sort of blown up maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, Uncle Ben and Jonah, they're like best friends. They're like kind of doing their own.
God. Their buddy thing.
Yeah, their buddy thing with it, like at the Turkish bathhouse is so funny.
Gosh. Yeah. It's so good. It's like Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau. Like, it's classic good. Yeah. Most people watching this probably aren't going to get that reference. Grumpy old men.
Yeah, but like
a couple.
Yeah, I love just their reaction, because like they're talking about, like, as you can tell by this cover, there's maybe a goblin-esque fellow flying around, and they're much more like fixated on like what's going on with him, because he seems to have it out. For another big reveal is Fisk. Wilson Fisk is very much a factor here. They honestly don't really seem to care about the Spider-Man of it all, which is really funny for Jonah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see how that might change, considering that it's definitely their paths are going to cross sooner or later here.
Yeah, and the whole Peter running into criminals up to no good and trying to stop them and failing miserably.
Yeah.
It was great. It's I told you right before we started the video, this might be my favorite single Spider-Man book in a decade or two. Like, for new releases.
It's pretty
feels
up there.
So much like core Spider-Man, core Peter Parker.
I think part of it is, like, for the first time in a long time, like, and not necessarily saying that like a lot of the other Spider-Man books that have come out in the last however many years are like bad per se, but like a lot of them just never feel like Peter's got like a trajectory that he's on. Like, he just kind of feels like he's like moving from like one thing to the next, whereas this is like he's got something he's trying to figure out. He's like actually to like trying to like grow and become like the person he thinks he needs to be.
Yep.
Which is like part of what was the appeal of all the like classic stuff from the 60s and 70s was it was like it's Peter growing up, he's getting out of high school and the college, getting out of that, like trying, like it's actively like part of him trying to figure out in a lot of ways like what is the like being a man part of being Spider-Man mean?
Yep.
Like what does it mean to like grow up and like have these powers? And I love that that's like kind of a similar thing to what he's having to do with now. It's just like what does it mean to like be a hero?
Yeah.
In a world where he doesn't really like have a reference point, because like as far as I can tell, if you read any of the other like Ultimate stuff leading up to like this whole relaunch, like the only other real like hero that they had was like Iron Man, and he just seemed to kind of be more of like a isn't it cool that there's a dude flying around in armor kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Like they don't really seem to have a point of reference.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I also like how this is fun.
Yeah.
Without being corny. Like it feels like Spider-Man's gotten a little corny. Like,
yeah. Well, I love that like a lot of the like funny dialogue from him isn't even actually from him trying to be funny. It's just like him like trying to like figure out how to react to a situation. It's just like, oh no, Peter, no.
It's so good. Yeah, you've got to check it out. The art is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The writing is great.
Mm-hmm.
I said this last time. I really didn't want to like this new alternate universe. I don't need more stuff on my list. I read so much the way that it is. And, you know, I was moderately at most interested in the original Ultimate Universe.
Mm-hmm. It is weird.
They have nailed every single book so far.
It
is
funny.
3, but
I know. I like the fact that like I honestly of all of them, because the one that's like definitely feels like it's gonna be the biggest like swing is Ultimate X-Men, and I'm super excited for that. Like
it definitely looks like it varies the most from mainline X-Men for sure. Yeah. But Black Panther was great. Ultimate Spider-Man number 1 and 2. I'm very excited for Peach Momoko to pick up the X-Men and run with them in a kind of without you know the constraints of all the old X-Men stories.
But at the same time, like I love that there are like the little interconnectivities, because like if you've seen the solicits for Ultimate X-Men, there's like a new character that's been created for this called I think her name is like Maystorm or something like that.
Yeah.
But like she's clearly inspired by like Storm, who we already know from minor spoilers for Black Panther, shows up briefly in there.
Yeah.
And I think they've already said for like issue 2, we're going to like figure out like how like does she know about like this kind of like rebel freedom fighter over in Africa.
Right.
Like I already like the like there are these like little bits that are connecting already.
Yeah. It's very good. So you got to check it out. We had so many orders and purchases for number 1, and the orders for number 2 had already been in, but we managed to sneak in a handful more, so there are some on the shelf right now. They are going to go fast. And it went to second print already, and I believe
don't assume you can like wait on this one.
No, get in as soon as you can. So, and you know, there's also a ton of other great books to check out. So, no matter if Spider-Man's your jam or you're looking for more of kind of a murder mystery kind of thing, like sci-fi, there's tons of stuff, and comics aren't all just capes and tights. There's lots of good stuff, and it's a great week. It's a really great week. It's going to be beautiful out today. There's no excuse not to get into the comic shop.
Come on in, grab a comic, go sit. If you got like a porch, go sit out and read your comics.
So great. Like, follow, subscribe. Be sure to leave your comments on what you enjoyed reading this week, and we will be back next week with more Pulp Picks. Thanks for joining. I don't know. We actually went a week without even mentioning an Energon Universe book, which is pretty surprising because Cobra Commander was great.